You ask a simple question, do you want lunch? And suddenly they're upset. You feel blindsided because you weren't trying to argue, you were trying to help. And you're noticing that you and your loved one are having more and more misunderstandings. In today's video, I'm going to explain to you why communication challenges arise in people with dementia, as well as what you can do to bring more calm and peace back to your conversations. Hi, for those of you who are new here, my name is Dr. Sinclair. I'm a neuropsychologist, dementia care specialist, and founder of the Confident Caregiver Academy. Let's jump on in. When dementia progresses, care partners, two major communication systems shift. The left temporal region, responsible for language comprehension, so understanding the words, the meaning of words, that weakens for your loved one with dementia. But what gets a bit more dominant is their right hemisphere. So the right hemisphere is responsible for tone and rhythm and emotionality of how you're saying something. So because this is more dominant, your loved one's brain is going to pay more attention to your tone of voice, your emotional cues, and less attention to all the fancy words or all the diplomatic ways that you're trying to say something. So focus on the way that you're saying it and use less words. That's why reasoning and explaining and correcting your loved one with all these words, that tends to fall flat. But when you bring a more friendly and calm affect or rhythm to your voice, that will go a longer way with your loved one with dementia. It's just because of the way that their brain is changing with dementia. Imagine their brain like a radio that no longer picks up language clearly, but the emotional station is still working. You're speaking just fine, care partner, but their brain is hearing emotion first, words second. Your job is going to be to speak into the frequency that their brain can still tune into. The first way to make conversations calmer again is to remember tone over words. As I mentioned, care partner, the dementia-affected brain processes tone before meaning because of the dementia changes that's occurring. So if you said to your mom, it's time for your medication, but you said it in a rushed way or your voice was tense, her brain is going to register that tension in your voice as danger, as a threat. If you soften your tone of voice and soften your approach, her brain is going to register that as calm and as safety. Because of the changes in your loved one's brain, care partners, tone matters so much more than the words, but still have the words be nice as well, care partners, okay? In summary, care partners, tone registers first because of the dementia-related changes. Words register last, if at all. Emotion is the message. So pay close attention to the emotionality and tone of your voice over trying to pick all the right diplomatic phrasing of the sentences. Second, one idea at a time, care partners. Long sentences overwhelm your loved one's working memory. Working memory, care partners, is your ability to hold a lot of different steps in your mind's eye. So for example, if you said, Dad, grab your sweater, we are going to run some errands before your doctor's appointment at 2 p.m. Woof, care partners, that was a lot of information for your dad's working memory, okay? They can't hold so many steps in their mind's eye anymore. So what you want to do instead is use phrasing like, Dad, grab your sweater. Pause. Dad, we're going to go to the doctor's office now. And get in the car with Dad and go on your way. Okay, care partners? So you want to minimize the input that you're given to your loved ones with dementia because it's just too much for their dementia-affected brain to hold on to. When they are overloaded with information, they get agitated and frustrated and dysregulated, and they don't even know why. They're losing the ability to understand what's happening. But oftentimes, care partners, what's happening is there was cognitive overload. Their working memory just can't hold all of that information anymore. In summary, care partners, remember long sentences overwhelm your loved one's working memory. Keep your sentences short, slow down your pace, incorporate pauses. Give a single directive instead of multiple instructions. If this is already shifting how you see dementia communication, care partners, then please go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. It allows me to keep helping you, as well as it allows you to send this out to other caregivers who are struggling. Let's move on to the next way that you can bring more calm to your conversations. And that's replacing explanations with comfort. The more you explain, care partners, the more overwhelmed your loved one with dementia will feel. Again, you are just trying to help by giving them an explanation as to why you're doing something or why you're taking something away from them. You are trying to explain, trying to reason with them in the way that you've always communicated with your loved one. But if you remember at the top of this video, I shared with you that the left temporal region for your loved one, that's their language comprehension center. That part is weakening. So they're not understanding language as well anymore. So all of that explaining is landing flat, and it's actually having the opposite effect of helping your loved one, and it's creating more agitation and anger and frustration for them instead. So instead of all of that explaining, I want you to try this instead. I want for you to lead with comfort. So the language that you will use will be language around emotional cues. So trying something like this. I've got you. We're okay. I'm here to help. I'll help. Tell me how to help. Or any variation of that. That is giving your loved one comfort cues, okay? It's tapping into a different part of the brain, the right hemisphere, that tends to be more dominant with dementia changes. In summary, care partners, explaining tends to increase confusion. The part of the brain that processes that explanation is weakening for your loved one with dementia. Comfort calms their nervous system. So try connection over correction. The next way to bring calm back into conversations, care partners, is to validate before redirecting. Here, care partners, I want you to validate your loved one's emotion, then redirect their attention. Logic comes last or not at all. Your loved ones are struggling with that part of their brain anyway. What do I mean by this? When I say to care partners, I want for you to validate your loved one's emotion, care partners tend to get confused. You want me to agree with everything they say, Dr. Sinclair? You should hear the things that they're saying. No, care partners. When I say validate, I don't mean for you to believe everything that they're saying or validate all of the things that they're saying, especially when it's unsafe or delusional. What validating the emotion means, care partners, is can you understand the reason that your loved one has that emotion? If they said the alien came into the fridge and stole my food, care partners, I'm not saying to validate the truthfulness of the alien coming in and stealing the food, but what I'm saying is validate the emotion. Can you understand why your loved one with dementia will be angry, upset, or confused that their food is gone? It doesn't matter if it was the alien who stole it or if it was you who ate it at 2 a.m. What they're saying is, I'm upset that my food is gone. So that's what you want to respond to. You want to validate the emotion of what they're trying to say. Right? If someone came in and stole something from you that was important to you, you would want a loved one to validate you're upset. Something is missing and you would want that support. You're going to use that same approach here for your loved one with dementia. Regardless of the truthfulness of it, we're validating the emotional experience. Can I understand why my loved one would be upset by this belief that they have? We're not saying the belief is true or false. We're just saying, can I understand why they would be upset about having this belief? Their food was stolen. Can I understand that they'd be upset by it? Even if it wasn't really stolen, they ate it 15 minutes ago. Okay, care partner, so that's what's meant by validating their emotion. Once you've shared with Dad, I'm so sorry that that's gone. Can I make you a sandwich instead? Right? You're telling them, I'm so sorry that your food is gone. It's gone. They ate it 15 minutes ago. They don't remember eating it. But what you're saying is, can I make you another sandwich? Can I grab you a snack instead? Okay, so you're validating the emotion. You're redirecting their attention to the snack or the sandwich that you're going to make. And you're not using logic. You're not saying, Dad, you ate this 15 minutes ago. The aliens didn't steal it. You're not even bringing that up. Okay, care partners? For a lot of care partners, validating the emotion is hard. It's a new skill that you'll have to practice. So here are some additional phrases that you can use to practice. If they say, "Someone stole my purse," your instinct, care partner, is to correct and tell them that they've misplaced the purse. But you now know that that part of the brain is weaker and it's only going to lead to agitation and anger. Instead, this is how you validate the emotion. "I can tell you're worried. Let's look together." "I can tell you're upset. I'm so sorry. How can I help?" "I can tell you're angry. Let's sit down and talk about it. I want to understand." Feelings first, care partners. Facts second, if at all. This is what's going to lead to protecting the trust and building calmer conversations. In summary, validate your loved one's emotion. Don't have to validate the truthfulness of what they're saying. Then redirect attention. And remember, care partners, logic comes last or not at all. Next, care partner, use the you plus me framework. When you say to your husband, "Hun, you need a shower," that tends to trigger control and sometimes even fear in a dementia-affected brain. However, if you change that phrasing to, "Hun, let's freshen up together," you've now used a you and me framework. We're doing something together. Let's do this together. It takes the pressure off of the dementia-affected brain. Let's grab breakfast instead of go get your breakfast and take your medication. Or let's go for a walk instead of you've been sitting there all day today. Okay, care partners, when you use the you and me framework, let us, you're creating partnership instead of pressure. In summary, commands can often feel threatening to a dementia-affected brain. However, partnership feels safer. Let's unlocks cooperation. And finally, care partners, when words stop working. In later stages, care partners, communication becomes sensory. When your loved one may not understand sentences anymore, what still stays is the familiar song that you play for them. Maybe it's your wedding song, your hand in their hand, your voice calling their name. That is going to speak so much more volumes. That gets housed in a part of the brain that stays resistant to dementia the longest. So while your loved one may not be able to communicate verbally with you in the same way, or may not understand all the words that you're saying, they'll still feel you touching their hand. They'll still feel you brushing their hair. They will love hearing the wedding song come on. So please, care partners, remember that they are losing certain abilities, but they're not losing them all at once. You can still communicate your love to your person with dementia, even when words fade. In summary, care partners, language may fade, but connection doesn't. Your touch, the rhythm, the song, the scent that you bring into the room, that becomes their primary language. And now I'd like to leave you with a mindset reframe, care partners. I know that you and your loved ones are having a lot of misunderstandings right now, and so hopefully this video will help shed some light on that and will minimize that walking on eggshell that you've been doing. But I do want for you to keep in mind that you are not failing your loved one with dementia. You just are learning a new language that no one's ever taught you before. When you stop speaking to the brain that they used to have and start tuning into the frequency of the brain that they have now, you are going to see so many successes. But please be patient with yourself. This is hard. This is really, really hard for you and for them. Give yourself grace. Give them a bit of grace. Keep practicing. Watch this video over and over and over again if you need, and I will be here to help you along the way. For those of you who recognize you do need a bit more guidance in implementing these strategies, then go ahead and book a call with me below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.